everyone, Sarah here. Rewind Justice brings you revenge stories that will blow your mind. If you're ready, hit subscribe and let's go.
The conference room at Palmer & Associates went deadly silent. James Patterson, the trust attorney who'd handled Grandpa Walter's affairs for 30 years, pulled out a thick folder with tabs color-coded by property. My brother Marcus stood frozen, his hand still pointing at me from his dramatic gesture seconds earlier. "What deeds?" he repeated, his voice climbing an octave. James adjusted his reading glasses and pulled out the first document. In March 2019, Walter Chen executed quit-claim deeds for all 9 of his Florida properties, transferring full ownership to his granddaughter, Sophia Chen. These deeds were notarized, recorded with the appropriate county clerks, and are matters of public record. Mom's face drained of color. "That's impossible. I have the recorded documents right here." James spread them across the conference table like he was dealing cards. Property 1, 2847 Coral Ridge Drive, Miami Beach. Property 2, 551 Ocean View Boulevard, Fort Lauderdale. Property 3. "Stop," Dad said hoarsely. "Just stop." But James continued methodically. Property 4, 12 Bay Harbor Lane, Key Biscayne. Property 5, 890 Palm Court, Boca Raton. Property 6, 445 Marina Way, Naples. Property 7, 1623 Gulf Shore Drive, Sarasota. Property 8, 78 Harborside Circle, Tampa. Property 9, 3341 Sunset Boulevard, Clearwater. Marcus grabbed the documents, his hands shaking. "This can't be legal." He was sick. He wasn't in his right mind. "Your grandfather was in perfect health in March 2019, James said calmly. "I personally verified his competency. He knew exactly what he was doing." I kept my expression neutral, watching my family's world tilt on its axis. But to understand how we got here, to this moment in a lawyer's office with $6.3 million worth of real estate suddenly not up for grabs, we need to go back 5 years, to a fishing pier in Clearwater and a conversation that changed everything. Grandpa Walter had built his Florida portfolio over 40 years, starting with a single condo in Miami Beach in 1979 and systematically expanding across the state. While most people saw Florida real estate as vacation properties or retirement investments, Grandpa saw it differently. "Coastal Florida isn't just about beaches, Sophia," he told me when I was 16, standing on the balcony of his Fort Lauderdale rental. "It's about limited supply. They're not making more oceanfront property. Every year, there's more demand and the same amount of land. That's the foundation of wealth." My brother Marcus thought Grandpa's properties were old-fashioned. He should sell everything and put it in index funds, he'd say at family dinners, fresh from his finance degree at Wharton. "Real estate is so 1990s. I, on the other hand, spent my college summers helping Grandpa manage the properties. I learned how to handle maintenance calls at 2 a.m. How to screen tenants who'd respect the properties. How to time renovations between seasonal rentals. How to maximize occupancy while maintaining quality." Marcus visited maybe twice a year, always with his girlfriend of the moment, always posting Instagram photos with captions like "living that beach life" and "Grandpa's empire." He never once asked about vacancy rates or property taxes or HOA fees. In March 2019, Grandpa called me. "Can you come to Clearwater this weekend? I need to talk to you about something important." I drove down from Tallahassee, where I'd just finished my MBA. Found him on his favorite fishing pier, tackle box beside him, watching the sunset. "You're not sick, are you?" I asked, suddenly worried. "Healthy as a horse. Doctors say I'll probably outlive you." He reeled in his line. "But I'm 79 years old, Sophia. I need to make sure things are in order." "Okay. I've been thinking about the properties. About what happens when I'm gone." "Grandpa, don't. Listen to me. Your parents think everything should be split evenly between you and Marcus. Equal shares. That's what fair looks like to them." I sat down on the pier bench. "That makes sense. Does it?" He set down his fishing rod and turned to face me fully. "Tell me something. When's the last time your brother spent a full day at any of these properties? Not visiting. Not posting pictures. Actually working." I said nothing. When's the last time he changed an AC filter? Interviewed a tenant? Negotiated with a contractor? Hell, when's the last time he could tell me which properties are single-family homes versus condos without looking it up? He's been focused on his career. And you haven't been? You finished your MBA while managing these properties for me. Marcus finished his degree and immediately started telling me I'm doing everything wrong. Grandpa's jaw tightened. Your brother sees these properties as assets to liquidate. You see them as what they are: homes, investments, legacy. What are you saying? I'm saying I want you to have them. All 9 properties. The entire portfolio. My stomach dropped. Grandpa, I can't. The family would. The family would what? Appreciate that I'm giving my life's work to the person who actually cares about it? Who actually knows how to protect it? He pulled a folder from his tackle box. I've already talked to James Patterson. He's drawing up the paperwork. Quit claim deeds for all 9 properties, transferring ownership to you. Marcus will lose his mind. Marcus will get over it. Or he won't. Either way, these properties are going to someone who understands their value beyond a balance sheet. What about Mom and Dad? They don't need to know yet. We do the transfers now, file them properly, make everything legal and ironclad. You own the properties. I retain life estate rights, meaning I can live in any of them until I pass. But legally, they're yours. Why the secrecy? Grandpa looked at me with eyes that had seen decades of family dynamics play out. Because I want to see how everyone treats you when they think you're splitting everything with Marcus. I want to see who appreciates what you've done and who dismisses it. Consider it a test. That seems manipulative. That seems strategic. There's a difference. He handed me the folder. I'm meeting with James on Monday. These deeds will be executed, notarized, and recorded by end of week. Say the word and I'll cancel. But I'm asking you, do you want these properties? Do you want to protect what I've built? I looked out at the Gulf of Mexico, at the sunset painting the water orange and gold. I thought about every summer I'd spent managing these properties. Every tenant relationship I'd built. Every late-night emergency I'd handled while Marcus was at happy hours posting about work-life balance. Yes, I said quietly. I want them. Good. Then it's done. The following Monday, I met Grandpa at James Patterson's office. We spent 4 hours going through documentation. 9 quit-claim deeds, each one transferring full ownership from Walter Chen to Sophia Marie Chen. James had everything notarized on the spot and filed with the respective county clerks within 48 hours. These are now public record, James explained. Anyone can look them up. But most people don't think to search property records unless they have reason to. As far as your family knows, your grandfather still owns everything. And when he passes? I asked. Nothing goes through probate. You already own the properties. There's no transfer necessary. You'll just need to file for removal of the life estate, which is a simple administrative process. Grandpa signed the last deed and smiled. There. Now you can stop worrying about what happens to these places and just focus on taking care of them. Like you've been doing. He lived another 5 years after that conversation. 5 years of Sunday dinners where Marcus talked about his hedge fund job and made jokes about Grandpa's little rental empire. 5 years of family gatherings where my parents praised Marcus's real career, while treating my property management work as a hobby. 5 years of watching who appreciated me and who dismissed me. The answer was clarifying. I managed the portfolio silently and effectively. Upgraded units strategically. Maintained occupancy rates above 92%. Built relationships with repeat seasonal tenants. Increased monthly revenue from $41,000 to $52,000 through smart renovations and market rate adjustments. Marcus, meanwhile, climbed the corporate ladder. He made VP at his hedge fund. Bought a condo in Manhattan. Posted constantly about his success. At family dinners, he'd tell stories about managing $800 million in assets, and make subtle digs about my small-time landlord work. How are the rental properties going, Sophia? He'd ask with a patronizing smile. Keeping busy collecting rent checks. Keeping busy, I'd reply evenly. You know, if you ever want real career advice, I'm happy to help. My firm is always looking for smart people. You could probably start in an analyst role, work your way up. I'm good where I am. I'm just saying, there's a ceiling to property management. But hey, if you're happy playing it safe. He'd shrug like I was making a quaint little life choice. Mom and Dad never corrected him. Never acknowledged that I'd been essentially running Grandpa's entire portfolio for years. Never suggested that maybe my work had value beyond playing it safe. At Grandpa's 84th birthday party in 2024, Marcus arrived late with a magnum of expensive champagne. "Sorry I'm late," he announced to the room. "Closing a major deal. But I wanted to be here for the man who taught me everything about building wealth." He raised his glass. "To Grandpa Walter, who showed us that real estate is just the beginning. The foundation you build before you move on to serious investments." Everyone clinked glasses. I caught Grandpa's eye across the room. He winked at me. 3 months later, he had a massive heart attack while fishing. He died before the ambulance arrived, peaceful, doing what he loved, on the same pier where he'd told me about the property transfers 5 years earlier. The funeral was huge. Marcus gave a eulogy about Grandpa's entrepreneurial vision and inspiration to aim higher. He got a standing ovation. I sat in the back and cried quietly. After the service, Dad pulled me aside. "James Patterson wants to meet with the family next week. For the will reading." "Okay. Your grandfather had a substantial estate. The 9 properties alone are worth over $6 million. Plus savings, investments, personal items." Dad's expression was serious. "I know you and Marcus have had your differences, but this needs to be handled maturely. Half and half. That's what's fair." "Whatever Grandpa wanted," I said. Marcus joined us, overhearing. "Obviously everything gets split evenly. That's standard. Though honestly, I'd recommend we sell the whole portfolio immediately and invest the proceeds properly." "We haven't even read the will yet," I pointed out. "Right, but we all know what it'll say. Equal distribution to grandchildren. Then we make smart decisions about asset management." He clapped my shoulder. "Don't worry, sis. I'll handle the complicated parts. You can focus on." He waved vaguely. "Whatever you want to focus on." I smiled politely. "Thanks, Marcus." What I didn't say, I'd already been handling the complicated parts for 5 years. While he'd been posting LinkedIn updates about closing deals, I'd been the one actually managing $6.3 million in real estate. But that revelation could wait. James Patterson's office was downtown Tampa, all dark wooden leather chairs. The kind of place that announced serious money in quiet, expensive ways. We assembled at 2 p.m., Mom, Dad, Marcus, me, and James. There were also 2 other people I didn't recognize, a woman in a sharp suit and a man with a briefcase. "Before we begin," James said, "I need to introduce Sarah Michaels, a forensic accountant, and David Torres, who specializes in trust litigation. They're here as witnesses and consultants." Marcus frowned. "Why do we need a forensic accountant?" "All will be explained." James opened a folder. "Let's begin with Walter Chen's last will and testament, executed in January 2024. He read through the standard legal language. Then came the distribution section. "To my daughter Linda Chen and her husband Robert Chen, I leave my personal effects, my vehicle, and the contents of my checking and savings accounts, currently totaling approximately $340,000. Mom exhaled softly. Dad nodded. "To my grandson Marcus Chen, I leave my investment portfolio, currently valued at approximately $180,000, and my fishing boat." Marcus smiled. "That's generous." "To my granddaughter Sophia Chen, I leave my tackle box, my watch collection, and my blessing." The room went quiet. Marcus looked confused. "That's it? Fishing tackle and watches?" "That's what the will states," James confirmed. "But what about the properties?" Mom asked. "The 9 rental properties." "The properties are not mentioned in the will." "Why not?" Dad's voice was sharp. "Those are the bulk of the estate." "Because," James said carefully, "they are not part of the estate. They don't belong to Walter Chen. They haven't belonged to him since March 2019. You could hear the air conditioning humming. What are you talking about? Marcus demanded. In March 2019, Walter executed quit-claim deeds transferring all 9 Florida properties to Sophia. Those transfers were recorded and have been public record for 5 years. The conference room exploded. That's impossible. Marcus shouted. I have the documentation right here. James began spreading the deeds across the table. Mom turned to me, her face a mixture of shock and betrayal. You knew about this? Yes, I said quietly. For 5 years. Dad's voice was hollow. Since March 2019. Since Grandpa signed the deeds. Marcus grabbed the documents, scanning them frantically. This can't be legal. He was old. He was manipulated. There's no way. Your grandfather was 74 years old in 2019 and in excellent health, James interrupted. I personally verified his mental competency. He was acting of his own free will, with full legal counsel. These transfers are completely valid. But why? Mom looked at me like I was a stranger. Why would he give everything to you? Because I owned it, I said simply. You're so entitled, Marcus sneered, standing up abruptly. Thinking you deserve anything. Mom nodded, her shock turning to anger. Absolutely right. The words hung in the air. Entitled. From my brother who'd spent 5 years treating me like a small-time amateur while I managed millions in real estate. From my mother who'd never once acknowledged the work I'd done. I smiled. Genuinely smiled. Then I looked at Dad. Did you mention Grandpa's 2019 quit-claim deeds? His fork, we'd been having lunch before the meeting, dropped from his hand and clattered against his plate. Marcus's face went from red to purple. What deeds? James opened his briefcase with deliberate calm and pulled out a thick folder. These deeds. 9 quit-claim deeds, all properly executed, notarized, and recorded with the appropriate county clerks. In March 2019. He laid them out one by one. Property 1, 2847 Coral Ridge Drive, Miami Beach. Transferred from Walter Chen to Sophia Chen on March 15, 2019. Recorded March 18, 2019. Marcus snatched the document. His hands were shaking. Property 2, 551 Ocean View Boulevard, Fort Lauderdale. Transferred March 15, 2019. Recorded March 18, 2019. This can't be happening, Mom whispered. James continued methodically through all 9 properties. Each deed was identical, Walter Chen transferring full ownership to Sophia Chen. Each one properly notarized. Each one officially recorded. When he finished, Marcus was gripping the edge of the conference table like he might flip it. This is fraud, he said through clenched teeth. She manipulated him. She was there all the time, she had access, she convinced him. I was there all the time because I was managing the properties, I said calmly. Something you never did. I had a real job. So did I. Managing $6.3 million in real estate is a real job, Marcus. Collecting rent checks is not the same as managing $800 million in hedge fund assets. No, you're right. It's not the same. Because I actually own what I manage. You just work for people who do. His face went white, then red, then white again. Dad found his voice. Sophia, this isn't right. The properties should have been split evenly. That's what family does. Is it? I turned to him. Is that what family does? Because for 5 years, I've watched you praise Marcus's real career while treating mine like a hobby. I've listened to him make jokes about my small-time landlord work while I managed every single one of Grandpa's properties. And not once, not one single time, did any of you suggest that maybe I deserved recognition for that. We didn't know, Mom started. You didn't ask. There's a difference. James cleared his throat. If I may, there's more we need to discuss. More. Marcus looked like he might be sick. What more could there possibly be? James gestured to Sarah Michaels, the forensic accountant. She opened her laptop. As part of the estate settlement process, I was asked to review all financial transactions related to the 9 properties over the past 5 years, Sarah said. What I found was concerning. My stomach tightened. I knew where this was going. In 2020, Marcus Chen was given access to one of the property's rental accounts by his grandfather, ostensibly to help manage while Walter was traveling. The property was 78 Harborside Circle in Tampa. Marcus's expression shifted. That was... Grandpa asked me to help. Temporarily. Yes. However, between June 2020 and March 2024, there were multiple transfers from that property's rental account to Marcus's personal account, totaling $127,000. The room went dead silent. Those were reimbursements, Marcus said quickly. For expenses. Maintenance costs. That's interesting, Sarah said, because I also have the actual maintenance records. All maintenance was paid directly to contractors through the main property management account, the one Sophia controlled. So I'm unclear what expenses these transfers were reimbursing. Dad turned slowly to Marcus. What is she talking about? It's a misunderstanding. Is it? Sarah pulled up a spreadsheet. June 2020, $4,200 transfer labeled repairs. Actual repair cost paid by Sophia, $1,100. Difference, $3,100. August 2020, $5,800 transfer labeled hurricane prep. Actual costs, $2,200. Difference, $3,600. Should I continue? You're taking this out of context, Marcus said, his voice rising. Grandpa approved. Your grandfather never approved these transfers, I said quietly. Because he didn't know about them. I found them 6 months ago when I was reconciling accounts. I brought them to James to investigate. All eyes turned to me. You knew? Mom asked. I found the discrepancies in February. I hired Sarah to do a full forensic audit. That's when we discovered Marcus had been siphoning money from the Tampa property for nearly 4 years. Marcus stood up abruptly. This is insane. You're making accusations. I'm stating facts backed by bank records, transaction logs, and email evidence, Sarah interrupted. All of which I'll be providing to the Florida State Attorney's Office, as this appears to constitute theft from a trust. Trust? Dad looked confused. What trust? The Tampa property was held in a family trust, James explained. Walter set it up that way for tax purposes. Taking money from a trust without authorization is a felony. Marcus's face had gone from white to gray. I was going to pay it back. It was temporary. For 4 years. I asked. At what point were you planning to pay back $127,000? I had investments that went bad. I needed short-term liquidity. Grandpa would have understood. Grandpa would have been devastated, I said, my voice harder than I intended. He built those properties over 40 years. And you treated them like your personal ATM. Mom was crying. Dad looked like he'd aged 10 years in 10 minutes. Marcus grabbed his jacket. I'm not listening to this. This is a setup. You've always been jealous of my success. Jealous. The word came out sharp. Marcus, I own $6.3 million in real estate that generates $52,000 monthly in rental income. What exactly would I be jealous of? He froze in the doorway. Your hedge fund VP position? Your Manhattan condo with its underwater mortgage? Your impressive LinkedIn profile? I stood up. I don't need to broadcast my success on social media. My properties speak for themselves. You manipulated an old man. I managed 9 properties while you stole from one. Tell me again about manipulation. David Torres, the litigation attorney, spoke for the first time. Marcus, I'd strongly recommend you retain counsel before making any further statements. What we've discovered constitutes clear evidence of embezzlement. The state attorney will likely pursue charges. Marcus looked at our parents. Are you going to let them do this to me? Dad's voice was quiet. Did you take the money? It was complicated. I was going to. Did you take $127,000 from your grandfather's property account? Marcus's silence was answer enough. Then I don't know what we can do, Dad said, and I heard something break in his voice. Marcus looked at me one last time. This isn't over. Yes, I said calmly. It is. He walked out, slamming the door behind him. The conference room was silent except for Mom's quiet crying. James gathered the documents. I'll need to file these with the court. The will execution is straightforward. Sophia gets the tackle box and watches. Marcus gets the investment portfolio and boat. Your parents get the cash and personal effects. But the embezzlement issue will be handled separately. Will he go to jail? Mom asked through her tears. That's up to the state attorney. But with this level of documentation? It's possible. Dad looked at me. You really own all 9 properties. Since March 2019. Grandpa wanted me to have them. Why didn't you tell us? Because Grandpa wanted to see how you'd treat me when you thought I was splitting everything with Marcus. He wanted to see who actually valued my work and who dismissed it. I paused. Turns out, he was right to test that. That's not fair, Mom said. We love you. Do you? Because for 5 years, you've treated me like Marcus's less successful little sister. You've praised his real career, and acted like mine was a cute hobby. You never once asked about my work in detail. Never acknowledged that I was managing millions in assets. Never suggested I deserved recognition. We didn't know. Because you didn't care to know. There's a difference. The words hung heavy in the air. James started packing his briefcase. I think that's all we can accomplish today. Sophia, I'll need you to sign some final transfer documents removing the life estate. Then the properties are fully yours with no encumbrances. Thank you, James. Your grandfather would be proud of how you've managed everything. The portfolio's value has increased nearly $900,000 under your management. That's exceptional work. I felt tears prick my eyes. I learned from the best. We filed out of the conference room. In the hallway, Dad stopped me. Sophia, I need you to understand. Understand what? That you never believed in me? That you always thought Marcus was smarter, more successful, more worthy? I shook my head. I understand perfectly, Dad. That's why Grandpa gave me the properties. Because he actually saw me. We see you. No. You see what you want to see. Marcus the golden child. Me the helper. That's how it's always been. What about the embezzlement? Mom asked. Are you really going to let them prosecute him? That's not my decision. Sarah's legally obligated to report her findings. But honestly, yes, I am. Because actions have consequences, and Marcus needs to learn that. He's your brother. He's a thief who stole from our grandfather's legacy. That's what he is. I walked away before they could respond. I'm writing this from the Tampa property, the one Marcus stole from. I've completely renovated it. New kitchen, updated bathrooms, fresh paint throughout. It now rents for $4,800 monthly, up from $3,200. Marcus was charged with felony embezzlement in August. He took a plea deal, 3 years probation, full restitution of $127,000, and 500 hours of community service. He also lost his job at the hedge fund. Last I heard, he's working as a financial consultant in New Jersey, rebuilding his career from scratch. My parents and I speak occasionally. It's cordial but distant. They still don't fully understand why Grandpa gave me everything. They still think fair means equal regardless of effort or care or competence. I've expanded the portfolio. Property 10 is a beachfront condo in St. Petersburg I purchased in April. Property 11 is a small commercial space in downtown Miami that I'm converting to short-term rentals. The portfolio now generates $58,000 monthly. It's worth approximately $7.1 million. Last week, I visited Grandpa's grave. Brought yellow roses, his favorite. The portfolio's doing well, I told the headstone. Almost $7.2 million now. Thought you'd want to know. The Florida sun beat down warm and steady. Marcus took a plea deal. 3 years probation. I know you'd be disappointed in him, but I think you'd understand why I didn't stop the prosecution. Actions have consequences. I traced the letters of his name carved in granite. You were right about the test. About seeing who valued me and who dismissed me. It hurt to learn the truth, but it was worth knowing. I sat there for a while, listening to the wind through the palm trees. I'm building something bigger than you left me. That's what you wanted, right? For me to grow it, protect it, expand it. I smiled. Property 12 is a maybe. It's a foreclosure in Key West that needs serious work. But the bones are good. Just like you taught me, see what it could be, not just what it is. My phone buzzed. Text from my property manager. Tenant in Fort Lauderdale wants to renew for 2 years instead of 1. Offering to pay full year upfront. Recommend? I replied while walking, accept 2-year lease, but maintain quarterly payment schedule. Upfront payment sounds desperate. I want to know why. Good call. I'll dig deeper. Because that's what Grandpa taught me. Trust the work, question the shortcuts, and always know your tenant's real situation before committing. Marcus called me entitled for thinking I deserved anything. Turns out, I deserved everything. Not because of birthright or luck or manipulation. But because I earned it. Every property. Every tenant relationship. Every late night and early morning and problem solved. The portfolio isn't mine because Grandpa gave it to me. It's mine because I protected it, grew it, and honored what he built. Marcus saw properties as assets to liquidate. I see them as Grandpa saw them, limited supply, infinite demand, and legacy worth protecting. And that's the difference between inheriting something and earning it. Between being entitled and being worthy. Grandpa knew it 5 years ago. Now everyone else does too. E&D.